What's up, guys? It's your boy Swills here, and I know it's been a while. It's been a couple weeks, I think almost 3 weeks since I last uploaded a video. I just needed to take a break from social media, YouTube, and all that to clear my mind a little bit. But today was a big day for gaming. As I was just watching, the PS5, the PlayStation 5, has been revealed alongside a huge list of games. Too many for me to go over in this video, and too many of them for me to really care about. There's a lot of games in there that we'll get into. But the PS5 as I'm looking at right now, it was about an hour and a half almost reveal. And to be honest, it's disappointed me a little bit. Sony had a real opportunity here to take a huge advantage with the games that they were bringing out, as well as, possibly setting a price, getting people to, prepare their savings early. But they've kind of let off there, which I'll get into again later. First, I'll start with some of the games, and then we'll get into the console itself, as they did in the live stream. Now, it's going to be an unpopular opinion. A lot of people are going to really like the console and the games that came out for it, and that's fair. That's perfectly fair. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. However, I'm left disappointed. And there was, from the games, there was a huge lack of diversity, I felt, in the games. They were either 3D platformers, 2D platformers, adventure games, first person, adventure game, third person. It was just a lack of creativity in a lot of these games. There was, you had the Sackboy game, which looks okay. That's a good platformer, it looks like, and it's multiplayer. That's awesome. But earlier on in the stream, there was a lot of platformers, and many of them just aren't exciting. These are all indie games. And considering the amount of money now that it takes to develop games of with high graphics, high performance, I just don't see how they can make a profit from this. Many of these games are not games for everyone. They're very specific audiences. I'm surprised at the amount of platformers that were, announced here. And, unless somehow platforms are making a comeback that I haven't been aware of, I wasn't impressed. I don't like platformers. A lot of people don't like platformers because they like to leave that in the past. This is more of a time for to really utilize the graphics in a more adventure game, or in a shooting game, or in whatever other genres of platforming. For me, is a bit too closed in. It's not really an open-minded genre of games. Now, that was just some of the games. There's plenty of other games as well. Spider-Man was the first game announced. Of course, GTA 5 was announced for PS5, whatever. Who cares about that, really? It's just GTA 5. And it didn't really look any different graphically, so I don't think many people will be buying it anyways. I think that's just to, make a couple extra bucks before GTA 6. But Spider-Man looked good. Of course, it had great graphics. It looked like New York City in a wintertime setting, so that's certainly good. It'll be interesting to see it compared to The Division, graphically, in terms of where The Division had New York, how that's going to look versus how Spider-Man will depict New York. It looks good. I like the look of it. I'm not a big Spider-Man guy myself, so I wouldn't buy it anyways, but it looks like a good game that a lot of people will buy. Of course, they had Ratchet and Clank. Then they had one game that really disappointed me. It's the Ghostwire Tokyo game. When I heard the guy before talking about Tokyo, I was thinking, oh my god, we could have an open world, modern day setting Tokyo game. And that's what I really want to see from game developers, is I want to see games that compete with GTA on a single player standpoint. We used to have Saints Row and Watch Dogs at one point, Far Cry, but they've kind of just taken a step back. GTA is so far ahead now. And I love single-player games that have detailed stories where it's related to contemporary day, not with these crazy supernatural things. And then supernatural things came out. I'm not a fan of that. It felt like every game that was revealed in the list had some sort of supernatural element to it. None of them were just a regular game based on regular things. Everything had to go to an unrealistic, fake fantasy standpoint. I don't like games like that, and a lot of people don't like games like that, and it really disappointed me. Even some older games could have came in and possibly made an appearance, like a Sleeping Dogs, or maybe Square Enix with a Just Cause Light game that was better, or there was so many things they could have done, but there was just a lack of diversity in the games. Now I forget what it was called, the car game where you're destroying stuff, Destroy Your Autobots or whatever it's called. that game looks pretty good. It looks like it looks like a competitor to Rocket League. Now, of course, they've had a ton of those. They had one that came out a while ago. I forget what it was called, but it was like it was like this electronic themed game. I think where you're throwing the disc throwing one. That was pretty good. But ooh, that was a bad voice crack. But the game looks good. It reminded me a little bit of Blur in a way, and I think it could be a good game. It's just you got to get the audience for it. And I like games like that because they're different. They're not going off of these, these same old types of genre. This is a completely different genre. It's like Wreckfest combined with Blur combined with Rocket League, and you throw it all together, and it looks pretty good. I like the look of it. Would I buy it? Probably not for more than $20, maybe $10, but it looks pretty good. The games just didn't interest me. There weren't many games that interested me. Of course, they had the Hitman 3, but that's going to be cross-platform. They had Resident Evil, but that's going to be cross-platform. Seemed like all of the best games they announced were cross-platform. Now, they had the new Horizon game, the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. Looks very good, but it's not for everyone. But it looks very good. I just wanted to see more of what Sony is best known for. Maybe an Uncharted game. I was expecting a game, from the studio that made, or I think the studio made Until Dawn is now gone, or they got broken up or something. But I was expecting another, high graphic, very good graphic, I guess, decision-making game similar to Until Dawn or Man of Medan or Detroit Become Human. I think that should have been a good game to make it a selling point, a primary game for the new console. But they didn't release it, and that disappointed me more than anything. There wasn't one of them decision-making games because everyone likes those. They're very good. And to see that they decided not to go down that route disappoints me quite a bit, to be honest with you. Now, Gran Turismo, they could have made a statement by doing an open world game to compete with Forza, and they said, no, we're not going to do that. No one buys Gran Turismo. The game hasn't been popular since the PS3. The game's been irrelevant forever because it's the same thing over and over again. Maybe they should have stuck with Drive Club because Drive Club had potential. The driving games, there is no driving game for PlayStation. There really isn't. You got Need for Speed, which is the most popular one, but that's cross-platform, and even that game sucks. The graphics are terrible on it. The physics are bad. Forza is the only racing game on the top right now. Now, they announced NBA 2K as well, cross-platform. Didn't really announce nothing there. The graphics were a little weird to me. The skin color on Zion didn't really look too great. Looked like it had a bit of a green tinge to it from the sunlight. Perhaps they tried too hard with the shadowing, the ray tracing and stuff. But I was very disappointed in terms of the games that they put out. The one game looked good. I forget what it was called. The snacks, eats fruit snacks or whatever it's called. The one with the lady that ate the strawberry and the strawberry grew on her arm. That game looks pretty good. The ones that made Octodad. That game looks pretty. It looks interesting. Would I buy it? Probably not for more than $10, but it looks good. And in terms of the console itself, it's interesting. You knew they were gonna go for the white look because they had the white controller. I'm not a big fan of the look of it, to be honest with you. It looks like you can only stand it up on that little coaster. I don't like that. I like being able to lay my consoles flat so it doesn't take up too much space. I can put it down on the bottom row of a shelf, for example. Let me show you here. My Xbox is currently sitting on the floor. I know it's a bit of a mess there, but put it down there. You can't put a PS5 down there. The PS5 has to be up here. Now, can the PS5 be placed on the floor? As I turn the camera around here, can the PS5 be placed on the floor? Who knows? But it looks a little, doesn't look very convenient in terms of placement. It looks a little bit like a modem to me. It's a very weird look. Now, to me, console look does not really matter. It's just all about how you play the games. As long as I can put it in a space that won't, put it in a place that won't take up too much space, that's all that matters to me. The look doesn't really matter. Now, what did pique my interest was the accessories that came with it. Of course, they had the controller that looks really good, had the USB-C on it. It came with a camera, probably a good camera at that, and that's something a console could always use, and perhaps implement streaming into the console as a big focal point, because if you put together a 1080p camera or even a 4K camera, which would be expensive, nonetheless, like a webcam, if you put the webcam with the console, that's a big selling point to me. That's a big selling point to get you ready for streaming. The headset looks good, but how good is it really going to be? You won't know until they demo it and you get the chance to test it. because it could just be another generic average headset. They have the headphone jack. They chose to keep going down that route. It's good accessories. I like the accessories. Now they have the standard edition console with the disc tray. It looks a little weird. The disc tray is a little out of place. They have the digital edition without the disc tray. Now, if you ask me, I'm a big fan. I don't buy games on disc anymore, but I like having the option to, because when you own a game on disc, it's yours. You own it. You can take it out. You can keep it. You don't owe anything to anybody. Digital edition, you rely on internet service to have that game. You're downloading it from a store and you never really own it. For example, on Xbox at least, you know, if you're not signed in to the internet, if you don't have internet, you can't play games that you buy from the Xbox store unless it's your home Xbox. Now, for someone like me who game shares, I have to then un-game share. Now, game sharing is not a big deal if you can't do it, whatever. I like being able to have to own my games. Now, I think from an apocalyptic point of view, what if the internet goes down for weeks, months, whatever? I can't access these games now. I might not be able to access these games. That's why something, in my opinion, like Google Stadia has failed miserably. Because no one wants to stream games. You don't own them. And I think that's a big issue with the digital console. Now, like I said, if it's cheaper, people will go digital edition all the way. No doubt about it. Digital edition will completely destroy disc edition in terms of sales. And I would buy the digital edition too if it was $50 or $100 cheaper. But, you know, it's an interesting look. There's not much to say in terms of that. You know, the thing's pointing at the top, the way the thing comes above, and it's like pointy ends. It's a little weird. Maybe you hurt yourself on it. I don't know how sharp those edges will be as I'm watching some Gran Turismo demo here. Shout out to Lyric. I was watching Lyric's stream. That game doesn't really look good at all. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's, you know, probably like $450 for the standard, maybe $400 for the digital, or maybe $500 and $450. Maybe they'll be the same price. I don't know. But it certainly makes me excited to see what Xbox has in store. I think for Xbox to really take a step up here, they need to offer more in terms of diversity. Give me some free roam games that aren't supernatural or crazy or whatever. Just give me a normal game. Just give me a normal game. You know, perhaps more sports games. Sports games are always good. They announced NBA 2K. It's 2K. 2K is ridiculous. Give me a driving game. Give me Forza. Give me something like that. And then, of course, offer me your own versions. You got Rare. Rare's very good at making stuff. Maybe promote Sea of Thieves a little bit more. Give me a reboot of Sea of Thieves. Give me some more content for that game. Give me some, I don't know. Give me some good exclusives. Xbox has really been lagging behind exclusives. No one plays Gears of War. Halo looks good, but how many people are going to really play Halo? I would expect it to be on the Game Pass. And the Game Pass, obviously, you know, Game Pass is a huge selling point for Xbox. I'm surprised PlayStation didn't announce something similar, or, you know, in terms of that magnitude. Xbox Game Pass is insane for the price. And when they announced it and they first put it out, you could get it for $1 plus your gold for however many months. So I've paid $1 for essentially, you know, a year and a half of gold and Game Pass. It expires soon, but I'm surprised Sony didn't announce something similar. Perhaps their game library, it's just not as large, and that's the reason why. I don't know. And I got to get ready for work. Overall, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. Console's okay. I didn't really learn anything from this. I got a couple good games, but I don't think I would buy a single one of them. At least not right away. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Like and share, or dislike, I don't care. I would prefer if you like it so other people can see my videos as well. I'm trying to get to 75 subscribers by the end of June, and I'll do a 75 subscriber giveaway, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, share with your friends. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.